Human beings living their very normal or very extraordinary lives, loving friends, super smart scientists, or amazing singers. Today, we'll talk about how to make a quality LGBTQ plus portrayal and not simply fraudulent roles. Let's find out in Queerbait or Good Rep. Hey, my name is Jem, and for Trans Awareness Week and Trans Day of Remembrance, a little bit late, I know, I decided not to analyze one single character, but to show you how to create better trans characters and stories, using the Russo test that set some points for good LGBTQ plus representation. And because 2016 happened, I added a bonus point to it, because LGBTQ plus fans deserve better. Now the goal here is to bring awareness to writers, producers, casting directors, and creators, since I'm one of them, on how important it is for us, the LGBTQ plus fans, to have good representation and how easy it can be. So let's jump right into it. Number 1. The character must be identifiably LGBTQIA+. There are very different ways to do this, either by showing little things like chest scars to explicitly saying they are trans. We can learn a thing or two from shows like Sense8 with Nomi and Carmilla the web series and the movie with La Fontaine. Nomi was already far into her transition when they introduced her to us, and from the very first episodes the fact that she's a trans woman is shown so the trans community can easily pick up little things from our own experiences, like the hormone shot, and it's also told in very different levels of explicitness. Number 2. The character must not solely or predominantly be defined by their gender identity or sexual orientation. This means not creating a trans character solely for the purpose of a coming out story. We like and need those stories, but they shouldn't be the only stories trans characters are able to have. We are very diverse and more than our gender identity, so give us trans activists or trans scientists, or trans singers, even trans superheroes. The list really is infinite. The best example for this is La Fontaine for Carmilla the web series and movie. They are a scientist who happens to be non-binary. By the time they are introduced, they have already come out. We see flashes of their best friend, Perry, struggling a little with their right pronouns and name, but eventually she gets it right, and everyone else isn't bothered at all. Their gender identity is just a part of who they are, and their story goes beyond it. Number 3. The LGBTQ plus character must be tied into the plot in such a way that their removal will have a significant effect. I get it. There are way more cishet people deciding which stories are told, which characters should be leading, because they are more universally relatable. But aren't we past that? I mean, the cis straight white man isn't really cutting it anymore, is it? And he certainly isn't the most relatable one. But hey, there are still thousands of films and TV shows led by them. So why not give us trans leading roles instead of one disposable tertiary or background character? Take a Fantastic Woman for example. The main character, Marina, is a Latina trans woman, and that was a huge success. Also a success, creating well-rounded trans characters that are important enough in the show or film so they are tied into the main plot and aren't just a disposable diversity prop. Now, the bonus point that I added. Number 4. The LGBTQ plus character must not fall under any harmful trope. There are so many harmful tropes for trans characters that it's not even funny. So I shall list most of them out so you are aware of them and avoid them or subvert them when creating trans characters. Trans equals gay. The mistaken notion that homosexuality and being trans are one and the same. Trans tribulation. Being miserable only because the character is trans. Trans fetishization. An ambiguous, non-conforming, or fully transitioned character is hypersexualized or fetishized above and beyond most of the cast in the work. Cis actors playing trans roles, specifically cis actors of a different gender than the trans role. This one gives off the message that being trans is an act, a performance, just a matter of playing dress up. and that underneath all that artifice, a trans person really is the gender they were assigned at birth, which is not only wrong, it's bull. I talk more in depth about the issues and harmful implications with this one in the Danish girl video, so go check it out. Bury your gays, or bury your LGBTQ pluses. Not only there is no happy endings for trans or LGBTQ plus characters, apparently they have to be killed. The harmful implication with this one is pretty obvious, especially for young and scared trans and LGBTQ plus people who watch themselves constantly dying in media. The trans characters that I've listed so far didn't fall under any of these tropes. You wanna know why? Because there were trans people involved in the making of these characters and stories. And that is the easiest fix ever. Let trans people tell their own stories, create their own characters, and play them. Wanna know successful stories about it? Laverne Cox, Jamie Clayton, Daniela Vega, who I met years ago and she was so beyond lovely, Kaylin Alexander, Ian Alexander, Ryan Quesada, and Morganna Love. Easy fix. Trans equals gay. As we should know by now, gender identity and sexual orientation are two very different things. One has to do with who you are, and the other has to do with who you feel attracted to. So we can have trans straight people, trans lesbians, trans bis, trans asexual panromantics. The list really goes on. Trans tribulations. Being trans can be difficult for different social and security-wise issues, but even if there are some trans people that are having a hard time with it, we aren't miserable because we are trans. It always has to do with other people, with security issues, the society we are in, and so on. And believe it or not, there are trans people who are so beyond proud of being trans. For example, me. So we really should aim for better, proud, and happier trans representation, because it does get better. Trans fetishization. Don't. Just never do this. Cis actors playing trans roles, specifically cis actors of a different gender than the trans role. The best solution for this is to give trans and non-binary actors and actresses the roles. That's it. That's the real solution right there. But if you must, at the very least, cast cis actresses as trans women and cis actors as trans men. Bury your gays, or bury your LGBTQ pluses. Art is pulled from reality, I know, but it's very irresponsible for creators to just focus on the worst case scenarios of a minority. So why don't we try and stop always murdering the trans characters in media? How about happy endings? Or regular endings? Open endings, perhaps? In real life, there are trans people just living on their very normal or extraordinary lives. And if it's fantasy, why not make the best out of it? I want to give a special shout out to every single LGBTQ plus creator that is out there. It's not easy, I know, but I'm glad you're still out there fighting the good fight, so we can all watch ourselves be better represented in media. Also, to all the trans actors and actresses out there, I hope you can find and be given your roles. I really hope you liked this video. If so, hit the thumbs up, share it with your fandom and creative friends, subscribe and hit the notification bell. Please consider becoming a Patreon or donating to my PayPal so I can keep doing this type of analysis. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Leave your very own fixes for the tropes I mentioned, or just tell me what you think about the characters that I mentioned. So maybe some writer or creator that was thinking of lazily writing a trans character with any harmful trope can see why it matters that we have good and diverse LGBTQ plus representation, and can come up with much better plots for them. Or better yet, let trans people tell their own stories.